Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. We've got Ideas by Elliot. Hey, folks, you're listening to Ideas by Elliot. And we're here with Ideas by Elliot. Podcast.
This is the Ideas by Elliot podcast, sponsored by Camera Corner Studios and ReleaseWire. I'm Elliot Christensen, and normally I spend my time working with clients on internet projects, websites, marketing, email, all the stuff they need to get their business found online. This is my chance to take a break and talk in depth with the most interesting people I know. There are no rules, there's no censor, there are no do-overs. It's raw, unscripted, and never edited. This is episode number 13 with Melissa Tanke. In this episode, we talk about the nonprofit Working as One with education in Africa. We have music tracks from Red Light Saints and from Africa coming up next.
Somebody proves me wrong, I guess, is all original and all local.
I love that.
Yeah. So this is The Long Way Home is the name of the track number 4 on the CD, The Legend of Jasper Pipestone. I hope I got that right.
That's correct.
And it's Red Light Saints is the name of the band. And that was brought in by our past guest, Don Nelson. Thank you, Don. I think Don's listening live. We are streaming live right now, which if you're listening on October 14th when this episode comes out, you won't be able to hear it live because it will not be live anymore. But right now, if you are listening live, please tell a few friends. We want to stress test the system a little bit, see what our needs are going to be when we kind of do this professionally. That's going to be the word I'm using, right? So, with me today, I have Melissa Tanke.
That's right.
Did I get the name right?
You got it right.
So, that's because I cheated and I practiced ahead of time. Mm-hmm. So, why are you here?
I am here, hopefully, to generate some interest in my nonprofit called Working as One. My son and I founded it a little over a year ago, and we've got a lot of exciting things going on. I was hoping to just kind of share with you what we got cooking.
Yeah. So, yeah.
When I was coming, I was thinking, like, what specifically do we want to talk about? I'm thinking, do I want to tell you the story about, what inspired this and what got it started? I mean, I'd like to tell you about our board. I'd like to tell you about the language lab project we've got going. We've got bracelet project. I'd love to tell people what they could do to help. I've got a vision I'd like to share with you.
We have a listener in Delaware.
Do we?
I guess so.
Hey. Hello?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hello, Delaware.
I got friends on the Twitter. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, you know what? The idea behind Working as One is like getting as many people together as possible to see just what we can do. So, come on, Delaware.
So, yeah.
Tell your friends.
Right. So, the name of your organization is Working as One.
Working as One.
Okay. And there's a tagline.
Yeah, aid to children in need.
Okay.
And so this was the mission is very general, just kind of built in some flexibility for us to really take care of needs as they arise, regardless of where they are. Right now, we've just found this big need in Ethiopia. So we're focusing everything we've got in Ethiopia. We have a school there we've been working with, and we want to do more. We're doing a lot.
So you're helping kids.
Yes, helping kids.
Okay, so Max missed a couple days of school this week already. School just started.
Yeah.
And he missed a couple days of school. What can you do to help him?
Well, I'm thinking this is not at the crisis point yet. So, Ethiopia, we have a crisis.
So Auntie Andrea and Grandma Connie, that's my mom and my aunt. I have an education professional, internationally acclaimed education and child development professional.
Yeah.
And she said it's not a crisis. Okay, go on.
Would you agree? I think what we
Absolutely, I agree. And it's a no-win situation. So in America, these are the problems we have.
Right.
If your kid has sniffles, they send the kid home. If the kid is not at school enough, they say, "Why is your kid not at school?" And I'm like, call me confused.
Right. The barriers to education here in the U.S. are very, very different.
They're bizarre.
Yeah, and people might even call them non-barriers if you, if you were to travel anywhere else. And I guess maybe that would be, I could talk about just kind of some of the educational barriers that we have.
Yeah.
So
you're primarily involved in Africa.
Yes.
So elaborate on that. So Ethiopia specifically.
Ethiopia specifically, and I guess my family has been has lived, worked, and been in Ethiopia for 10 to 12 years now. So we just have a big affection, for this country, and we really kind of
and to elaborate on that, you said your family, your sister's there now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And how long has she been there?
10 years.
So she lives there.
Well, she commutes. So you go and stay and work on specific projects. So what she does is she works for Family Health International. And what they do is they set up labs and set up healthcare facilities that will soon be taken over by the people that live there. But this American agency goes in and kind of gets everything set up,
But when you say she commutes, she's not she doesn't go there for the weekend and then go home.
Oh, no. She goes there for 6-8 weeks at a time, but has a home in North Carolina, where FHI 360 is located. So,
okay. What's your sister's name?
Shelly Fisher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got to give shout outs.
Shout out to Shelly.
Yeah.
And she really kind of is, we've always been a very, a humanitarian-minded family, but she kind of put Africa on our map. She put Africa on our family's map. So she's kind of, where all of this started, And then my other sister went to visit and stayed there for quite some time and came home. And then I have a son who's always wanted to be a missionary and go on missions. That is his view for his future, is being a missionary.
So it started with your sister, but what started her on that?
You know what? In high school, she wanted to be in the Peace Corps, and she just always had this desire to go and help. She just has a servant's kind of. So
you guys just have this inbred, we got to save the world kind of thing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We grew up in a house where a lot of foster kids, so 12 foster siblings. We've got a family of adopted kids, some biological kids. We had the house where, if we brought a friend home that needed a place to stay, they would stay there indefinitely. Oh. And so...
so you're wealthy.
No, very not at all wealthy. Just 5 kids in our family alone, plus 12 foster kids. And a lot of, those are the official foster kids. I don't know how many kids just came and lived with us, off the books. But no, my dad was a salesman for a long time, and then he was the highway commissioner for Vilas County. Not big, great paying jobs, it's just, so we never grew up, our family vacation, the only family vacation I ever went on, I am not teasing. It was to Peoria, Illinois, camping.
Peoria's a great place.
Right. So when you say wealthy, it makes me chuckle because no.
There are people that take vacations to Green Bay, Wisconsin. So, it doesn't have to be, everything doesn't have to be Acapulco.
Yeah. So, but we always had everything we needed. You know what I mean? We always had everything we needed, and somehow it always turned out just fine. But I'm sure there was a lot of sweating and, sweating behind the scenes on my parents' part, trying to figure out how they were going to make all this work,
So you started the nonprofit. What spawned that?
Well, I've got a son that always, has been asking to go on a mission trip.
What's your son's name?
Joe.
How old's Joe?
Joe, he is 15 now. He was 14 when we took our trip. And
so this 14-year-old guy.
Yeah.
He's starting a nonprofit.
Yes. I mean, it was inspired by him. He inspired this. And a lot of his ideas are what really kind of keep things going, So he's always wanted to take a mission trip, be a missionary. And we don't really belong to a church, so that seems to be like how you would usually get involved with these missionary trips. So we really didn't have a way to get involved, but just coincidentally, we had a friend say, hey, a group of doctors are going to Ethiopia, and I signed my husband up. But to find out he would have none of that. He wasn't able to go. He's got partners, things to do. But
what does your husband do?
He's a cardiologist at Bellin. So
what's his name?
Tim Tanke.
Got to give shout outs.
I don't know. I think he tries to distance himself from me a lot of times because I'm always, I'm like, I'm a little too wily.
He shouldn't have gotten married.
Yeah.
I'm a little too wily for certain people too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just really, I'm far too wily for him.
Wily.
Yeah.
I'm Wiley. Mm-hmm. I like Wiley. That's a good nickname.
Yeah. It is. It's
you know what? I take that to mean we get shit done.
I think so too. I think so too.
You see it, you attack it, you get it done.
Yeah, and
you move on to the next thing.
I have high energy. I've got high energy and high expectations, and I think highly of the people around me. And I just think, why not? Why wouldn't we be able to do this?
Right.
Right. Why not us?
Right. Why not us? That's great. Mm-hmm. That's a great attitude. Mm-hmm. And very similar. You said, we kind of bring our kids up the same way.
Yeah.
And I try to push that on them so much.
Yeah.
Ben and Kyle are in their 20s, and I said, why can't you run for city council? Why can't you run for whatever you want? Why can't you do
right.
Why can't you be a musician and get yourself publicized properly?
Right.
And by and large, we're our own worst enemies, right? We have our own self-doubts, and that's what holds most people back, right? But I feel like they're doing pretty well with that. I feel like your son's starting a nonprofit. My God, it's amazing.
The turning point with my son is we were in this just dire situation. So our school caters to orphans or impoverished kids, just, a population that... And they're living in a poverty that anyone in the United States would never, ever believe. You would just not believe it. So anyways, we went to go see where they were living after school one day. And to get there, you walk quite some distance. You climb a pile of trash. It's located on an old dump site and with torn down buildings. It's a Lambeau field sized area. So you peel back this corrugated cardboard, crawl up a pile of trash to get into this area, and they call it the tarp village. When you get in there, it's just tarps and cardboard and burrowed holes into garbage to use as, your shelter. And right when we walked in, we heard kind of this buzzing, just a buzzing, a low kind of hum buzzing sound. And we never really figured out what it was until we went to leave. And so when we go to leave, we finally are looking at what we had our backs to the whole time. And it was just this cluster of children, the big bellies, all alone, quiet, still. The hum were the insects that were on these kids. And Joe turned to me and said, Mom, what are we going to do? So I could have raised a child that said, oh, that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, he's the kid that's like, what are we going to do?
Right.
And so that's kind of how this got started. You know, we went back to our room that night and we were both kind of, you know, it had been a very long, difficult several weeks. And then that just kind of was the peak, you know, and he's like, we have to do something. What are we going to do? And by the time, you know, we got back to the States, we had an idea for a nonprofit. We had kind of our mission statement in mind. We knew exactly who we wanted to help. And since then, we've been just trying to, you know, put it together. So, and it's finally really coming together.
Yeah.
So
some of those visions of poverty and some of the situations on your new website that we're putting together.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff's going to be there.
Yes.
I mean, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like some of those are the nicer versions of that.
Yes, you know, it's really hard. You get in these situations and it's difficult to think. You're not thinking about your camera. And if you do, you just think, I can't picture them. I can't take a photo of them at their worst. Like, I know you're suffering, but here, let me take a picture. You can't really do that. And when you do get a picture like that, you really don't want to share it. You know what I mean? I think about me at my worst. The last thing I want is a camera. I mean, think about the celebrities, people snapping pictures of them. I mean, that's horror.
Right.
And they have the same pride and everything that we do, you know, and so it's just really difficult. And you really don't, when you're there, you don't want anything to really come between you and the people that you're with.
Right.
You know, and so it's just kind of an afterthought to get a picture. Every once in a while I would take a picture. I'd think, gosh, no one is going to believe this unless I take a picture. But for the most part, the pictures I show are our students at their best.
So from when you first started getting involved to now, any changes in what's happening?
Yeah, you know, so we were there in June and we started writing for a grant. So the director of the school, it's actually a library, the Miriam Beza Library. It was founded by an Ethiopian American from Kentucky. So we were writing for a grant. And in August, we found out that we got the grant, another building, more land and a building. And then in October, I went there to kind of set up the remodeling and the refurbishing to see what we needed to do to make this like student worthy. You know, we have to do a lot of renovations to make this building acceptable for educating kids. So now we're fundraising for that too. So
what's the timeline on that?
Well, you know, there's all these different there's these different sayings like, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Some people are like, if they come, I'll build it. We're like, oh my God, here they are. We need to build it. So that's where we're at. We are like at the, oh my God, we need to get this done.
So like
stage.
You want to get it done within a year,
less than a year.
Okay.
You know, life, we say life is short in the United States,
right,
but it really is very short in Ethiopia.
Sure.
You know, people live for barely 50 years. More than half of the population is under 14 years old. I mean, and how well do a bunch of kids do without adults? Do you know what I mean? The Ethiopian kids do amazingly well, but it's a tough gig. Do you know what I mean? So we don't have a lot of time.
Sure.
You know, people are sick, they're starving, they're hungry, they need shelter, they need food. It's not like the 2-year plan, it doesn't work for me. You know, I'm more like the 6-month plan.
Me too.
You know, I just, you know.
I'm like the this week plan. I'm like, no, we're going to get this done by Friday.
Yeah.
You know?
So I feel like a lot has happened. I mean, we've started a nonprofit and, you know, we've got a lot going on.
So what do you do for fundraising? You mentioned that you were writing for a grant. What else are you doing?
Well, I had our very first fundraiser was just 12 days ago. I have a girlfriend that she's sells Norwex. She's a Norwex rep.
I don't know. What is that? I don't know what Norwex
It's
is.
cleaning, environmentally friendly cleaning supplies and products, and just like goods.
Things that people that clean would know about.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't clean anything.
Gina would know. Gina would know about this.
She's way more likely to know about it than I am.
Yeah. So Julie called and said, "Hey, I want to do this fundraiser for you." She gathered up several vendors, several area businesses, and we did this fundraiser. And at this fundraiser, I introduced some bracelets that we were making, and sold a couple of bracelets. But one of the
You had those on yesterday, right?
I do.
Oh, you have them right there.
Yeah. See,
They're
look
beautiful.
at it right here. This is where you say, "Wow."
Well, I said beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're amazing.
They are. They're gorgeous.
And we'll snap some pictures, and I'll get them out there
thank
too.
you.
Yeah. So
We had this fundraiser, and then one Facebook photo of those bracelets on my girlfriend's wrist have resulted in selling hundreds of these bracelets. And so we're using these bracelets to raise funds, but the bracelets are really more than that. What we're hoping is that, once we catch our breath, these bracelets are going to be made in Ethiopia by women. And there are many benefits of doing that. This will give women a job, a means of income. It will also lure women to our school area, which serves a lot of sibling groups and orphans. So it'll give the kids access to a nurturing adult by having these women come there or in that vicinity to make these bracelets. And I guess the end goal is for this to sustain the school, the education, and the food for these kids.
So we talked briefly about that yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think it's crucial for individuals, at least, who want to give money, and maybe even bigger organizations, to know they need. I feel like when people give money, they're so afraid of it being wasted,
right?
And they want something very visible and tangible.
Yeah.
I'm mixing words up. Visual and tangible.
Yeah.
And not only do they get a bracelet that they can tell the story to others,
right?
But we were discussing maybe getting some of those individuals that are doing the actual creating, the involved moms or whoever these people end up being, telling some of their stories.
Yeah.
About their poverty situation or what they're doing to make life better over there, right?
Right.
So I feel like there's a lot there, and I was doing some more thinking about that, and I think this is an interactive type of thing we can do. We can open it up to listeners. I'd like to have you sort of have a brand name for these.
Well,
but not really.
Not really.
So that was where I was going with it. I know thousands of creative people and thousands of people who want to help. And I think we should put a challenge out there to come up with a good brand name for these bracelets.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Kind of came up with that in the shower this morning.
Nice work.
Yeah.
You're never off duty, are you?
No.
I would love that. Right now it's
a sickness.
Right now it's I'm sounding disorganized, but I'm not. But this just started 12 days ago, and it really took off beyond.
No, and you said there were, I don't know, you said there were hundreds. Hundreds.
300.
300 handmade bracelets that you're making.
Well, 280 handmade bracelets, and then about 75 that I need to make yet. Which, now this kind of brings us to the other thing, the demand is much, it's greater than what I was anticipating in the first 10 days,
Right.
And there's no way for me to get this going in Ethiopia in the next week in order to, fill these orders. So what I kind of thought, until we can get this all relocated into Ethiopia where it needs to be, I was hoping that maybe some youth groups or clubs in different schools would, I was hoping that I would come and speak to a youth group, a club, a church, whatever.
Right.
Kind of tell them what we're doing. I'd bring some bracelets. They could like hold them, touch them, feel them, whatever. And maybe the next Sunday or the next time the club meets, they will have a sign-up sheet and people will pre-purchase these bracelets. They'll pay the money, pre-purchase the bracelets. I will then go and meet with this group of kids. I will help them and teach them how to assemble them, get them ready, put together, and then we'll distribute them. And that would be a great way to get kids involved, get them interested, kind of give them an education on Africa. Not a lot of people know what's going on there. And it would really just kind of help us raise the needed money to fulfill our mission.
And I'm ignorant as anyone can come. What do you think the possibility of working together, some kind of scholarship to, they wouldn't all be able to go, but like award one kid a trip over there?
I would love that. And I am like really actively pursuing people that come with me. It's like, just one mother and son can't go there and come home and tell the story. And it's really, it's tough to tell the story because it's just a difficult story and it's so foreign to what anybody here, there's just no context to share it. So I would love partners. I would love to,
So this will go out on October 14th.
Yeah.
So hopefully anybody listening, October 14th and after that, can that sounds appealing. They should get in touch with you.
For sure.
And how should they get in touch with you?
Why don't you go to my website at www.workasone.org. I know a guy who has just built me a fabulous website.
Wow.
Thank you, Elliot.
It's not done yet, but it will be by October 14th.
It'll be great. And we're actually...
So our live listeners should not check it out because it's not super awesome yet.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be. It's going to be. Yeah. The website is going to be a workhorse because I found really the difficult part of selling these bracelets are people call. And so you're on the phone all the time and you're trying to like keep it straight.
Yeah.
So this website I think is really going to be very helpful. And also as a side note, if there are physicians in the area that would like to come with me to Ethiopia and do some quick little mini exams and treat some of our kids, I would love that. If there are surgeons out there that would be willing to come and work at a hospital that we've got a close relationship with, I would love that. I mean, we just need people to participate. We need a lot of them. And, anything anyone can offer will take, the the orphans have a really tough gig, and our nonprofit is kind of like holistic in that we want to care for all of the different needs of the kids. We can't just offer an education. There are so many barriers to that education. A lot of these kids are transient. They're orphans. They're homeless. They're searching for an orphanage that will take them on. They're going by foot from place to place. Do you have room in your orphanage for me and my siblings? And so they're very transient. We can't just offer education. We have to give them shelter to keep them in one place. A lot of these kids would miss school because they need to beg in the streets for food. A lot of at the restaurants, all of the restaurants in Africa or Ethiopia, there's a huge long line of people before when they eat the scraps off of people's plates. So they want to get a good place in line. It's like they'll miss school because they need to go and get in line behind a restaurant for a meal. They're sick. There's all sorts of illness. So it's like we can't just educate them. They miss school because they're sick. We need to keep them healthy. They walk. They're, on foot. They can't get to school if their feet hurt. It's like they need shoes. So it's like our agency, we just don't do just education, and we do it all because education alone.
So we need to kind of bundle those stories, like talk about those things, people who have access to clothing. We need, so we're going to need to we're kind of designing the website on the fly here, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like we need to guide people on the people that have the resources to help. We need to be able to guide them into the right area for them to help us.
Yeah. So, but definitely. But one of the issues we have is getting the stuff there. So we can't really do like clothing drive because we can't get the clothes there. You know, I'm sure I can find someone to sponsor some of the shipping. What would be better is if Shopko said, we are going to get you some clothes and we will get them there. When we're bringing our other stuff to Mogadishu, we'll get you some stuff to then move to Addis Ababa. You know, that's what we need.
I don't even know what those words are that you just said.
Well, you know, one's from one city to another.
Okay, those are both Ethiopian cities.
No, Mogadishu is not, but Addis Ababa is.
Okay.
But Mogadishu is a city right on the ocean, so it's a port. A lot of goods come through there. I guess that's the other thing we need to keep in mind. You know,
we need to educate people like me on that there are cities over there.
Yeah, but not like here. Very different. You know, cities with dirt roads.
Oh, wow.
It's weird. But I guess the other thing I really was hoping to touch on is just kind of the neighborhood that Ethiopia is in. You know, they're next.
So let's leave that as a little teaser. We're gonna break in and do our sponsors.
Yes.
We have DOS sponsors.
Okay.
That's 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I only know 1.1 languages. I know 10% of Spanish. I don't even know 10%.
I don't. 10% might be
10.01.
You know more than one language. It's just the others are machine language.
That's true.
Clever.
You know, if someone needs some 68,000 assembly language,
there you are.
I would have to get my book out, but I can do it.
Probably been since college.
Yeah, at least.
Guessing.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, as always, we are here in Camera Corner Studios.
Yeah.
I think Nick's voice was on the air there. I don't know if that was a secret.
Oh no,
message or not.
I don't really hide my voice that much anymore.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So Nick, as always, is here. I don't know what I'll do if Nick isn't here. That'd be weird.
You'd also probably have police here. I mean,
wait,
because
things are about to get interesting.
I'm just saying. I mean, if you're here without me, how'd you get in? The alarm's probably going to go off.
Oh.
That sounded like a challenge, didn't it?
Yeah. I think we can crack
I need to get in. No police.
Crack the code.
Boom.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I have ways. I have a special set of skills.
That's one of your other languages.
So, anyway, before the vandalism, I love this place, and I say that every single episode, and people maybe, if they are listening to every episode, probably get a little sick of it. But the first time I walked in here, I was blown away. And I like to turn it to my guests a little bit.
Yeah.
What did you think when you came here?
I thought, what a nice, like, clean studio. I'm like, you could really do anything. You can do anything here.
So Nick is an expert with audio and video, and he does DJ services on the side and all sorts of, like, he's an AV genius.
Yeah.
Not an AV geek, he's an AV genius, and he's available to help, and he's got all the tools, even teleprompters and green screens. So, like, we could be in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
We could do a video, and we could be in Ethiopia, and he can help make that happen.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's totally crazy. So, you got anything else to add, or you just want to tell people how to get a hold of you, Nick?
Yeah, just if you need the studio, whether you're a photographer, videographer, musician, podcaster, just give me a call at 920-272-0148.
And I'm going to reiterate what I said during Don Nelson's episode that, maybe nobody wants me there, but I would love to help do some voiceovers or do some whatever. I would help out anyway. So anybody that comes to Nick and needs some extra help, I am your free servant of AV help. I will be your helper. I will, I'll, you know what? If you need somebody to go get you coffee, that will be my job, I guess. I will do that.
There you are.
So really, seriously,
It would be underutilizing your talents grossly, but
I'm kick ass at getting coffee. You're insulting me.
Oh no! See, I'm thinking you've got a lot more to offer than that.
You know what? There are some people that suck at getting coffee. I am really good at that.
Do you know I've only had 2 cups of coffee in my entire life?
How many did you have today?
None.
Oh my God.
I know, I'm high on life.
I had 2 today.
This is all me.
Well, some people don't necessarily like that.
Right.
They don't like people that are high on life.
Right.
Sometimes you have...
That's why other people need coffee.
Right.
To make us tolerable, I guess.
You think so? I still don't think they can keep up because because I have coffee too.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have another sponsor. So we have 2 sponsors for this little show. It's super crazy. And I have to bring up my notes because for some reason I closed them like a bonehead. And where did it go? Oh my goodness. So our other sponsor is my good friend Dan. And I lost the email. What the heck is going on?
What have you done?
And my laptop died, so I can't even bring it up.
All 3 of our live listeners will be very disappointed in you.
Oh, jeez.
So we're gonna cut this part.
And we'll edit in a commercial later.
I didn't know my laptop was actually going to die because I have this like battery thing, and it tells me.
Oh, your Apple battery didn't last 8 hours? Is that what you're trying to say?
You know what?
You're expecting a lot from your battery.
So all morning I was compressing video like for YouTube, because you can't just dump an MP3 up there.
No, you cannot.
You know how long that takes?
Oh yeah, that's my life. That's what I do.
That was crazy. Like, I just put a static picture on, and it said, "See you in an hour."
I'm sure you've seen that XKCD video with the guys, sword fighting in the office, and they're like, "What's going on? My code's compiling." In my world, that's rendering.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Well, code doesn't really take. I mean, unless you're doing like you're making Linux or something. Like,
yes.
Code doesn't take that long to compile. But holy crap! Like, it's a static image. I don't know all of the details involved, but that seems to be taking a little longer than it should.
Well, the big thing to think about is, you're making 60 pictures per second, and your show is like an hour 15. I'm just stalling time for him as he drags his laptop across the desk trying to plug it in. This should be a video show because that was humorous.
I don't know where you got outlets in this place.
There's outlets everywhere. It's a studio.
Is there one right under me? That would make me ill. Oh, there's one right there.
There is one very close.
I looked there and I didn't see it.
Oh boy.
Anyway, I just because I want to hit the other bullet points. I could have just repeated the stuff from last time, acted like I had it all under control.
Smooth.
I'm so embarrassed. Sorry,
Oh, boy.
sorry, Dan. Dan's gonna hate me
I don't think so.
more than he does already.
I think he heals quickly.
There it
Elliot.
is. All right. So I could have done this part. So the actual sponsor is ReleaseWire. And anybody who's listening who has a business or an organization, a nonprofit, they can go to connect.releasewire.com. And what they do is they'll take your information, they will distribute it.
Oh.
So especially if you're trying to have a nationwide reach. So, honestly, Dan just supported the program because he is happy with what I'm doing, which is humbling.
Yeah.
So a business genius like Dan Jones, this guy he's got over 95,000 businesses have used this already.
Oh my goodness. He is someone you need to know.
Yeah. And he's based in little old Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And has nationwide reach. And I've known him for, I guess, a long time because he's been doing this for 10 years. I've probably known him 20 years. Blows my mind. And all of the businesses that he is involved in, they're really never local. Mm-hmm. So he's always looking to the world.
I love that.
And he's another guy who, even with that in mind, super invested in the community, super invested in helping people. I know that he goes out of his way to employ people that are visually impaired. And so his heart is always in the right place, helping support a stupid little non-funny radio show.
What, are you kidding me? You're hilarious.
Wow.
We just
we were just making fun of you the whole time you're plugging in the laptop.
Well, you were laughing at me, not with me. I like people who laugh with me.
Oh, we'll think of something.
So, all right. So I want to dig out a few more bullet points here because it's super crazy. So he has listed here, our primary goal is to help businesses develop trusted long-term relationships with journalists. So, the idea is you get your press releases out and they're kind of connecting you up with people who write, hopefully on the topics that you're dealing with. So for a small business that really wants to have huge reach into niches and into, and I know it's not niche, it's like niche.
Right.
Niches.
But just like Du Bois, we are here in Green Bay, so we pronounce things differently.
That's true. We're not French.
Right. So.
Yeah. So
Green Bay.
So totally blows me away. And so their press release distribution service goes out to over 350 media outlet websites. So boom, immediately you can have huge reach of your message. And like I said before, if you're interested in trying it out, you can set up a free business profile at connect.releasewire.com. You just punch that in your web browser. So it's not a www, it's connect.releasewire.com. And that information is syndicated to over 35 sites. And that's free service. So,
oh my goodness.
So correct. I have not done it myself yet, but absolutely I intend to.
So how could I use this with the bracelet campaign we've got going on?
Well, I think you should try the free thing and get back to me. And,
all right.
and tell me how that worked for you.
All right.
And I'll definitely pass that back to Dan if it, how things worked or how they didn't work or whatever.
Sure.
But it's better than nothing.
For sure.
And actually being on 35 sites, like, I don't know, if you go on Facebook, that's one site.
Right.
And, and I don't know if I had that talk with you, but having like a Facebook page, if you're not willing to pay to have it promoted, it is super difficult to actually get any traction.
Gotcha.
So like, I have a business page for what I'm doing now, the Ideas by Elliot page on Facebook, but really I have to like reshare it personally so just my friends see that, because that gets more reach. It's sort of ridiculous. And Dan knows all that stuff and he's pushing it out to sites that matter. So
nice.
I can't say enough how much I appreciate Dan's help, and I hit him up just last night and he got this information together for me.
Nice.
So team player and super awesome Green Bay guy that's kicking butt all over the world. So I encourage everybody to go to connect.releasewire.com. Enough said. Try it out and let me know how it goes. If you're listening live, maybe shoot me a message and say, hey, I did it, and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
And we can maybe read some of that next time. So, yeah. So I cut you off on the teaser. You were going to tell more about...
What was I going to tell more about?
See, that was your job.
Just, I think we were just going to talk about kind of what neighborhood in the world they're living in,
So before we do that,
yeah,
I actually think I am more interested in everything else about you.
Okay.
So let's, so outside of this nonprofit that you're starting, like, what's your background? Where are you from? What did you do?
Sure.
How'd you get here?
How did I get here? Long pause. No one ever asked me about me.
Dramatic pause.
Yeah, like, wow, this might be the most anticlimactic part of the show. But I'm from Eagle River, Wisconsin. I come from like a large eclectic family.
So you're from Eagle River, Wisconsin, and you're dedicating your life to improving Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And you think that's boring?
Well,
Okay.
Maybe not.
Carry on.
Maybe
Tell me more boring facts.
So, for years, I had a very long and successful career. I worked for the same company for a very long time, managing low-income housing, government-subsidized housing. Did that for a long time. I loved it. I loved that job, but it just got to be too much having a husband that's a cardiologist and kids. It just, things got very complicated, and so made a conscious decision to put my career and and everything aside to kind of make everyone else's dreams come true. My husband can have any job he wants because I can up and go whenever he wants. My kids have more opportunities because, I'm just sitting here behind the scenes trying to make them happen. And so, there isn't. The best part about me are the people I'm cheerleading for, really. Do you know what I mean? And it's funny how this nonprofit just suits me perfectly.
Oh, for sure.
The role that I enjoy the most is really helping other people succeed. I've always been fairly involved in politics and, volunteer a lot of time for that. I don't know if I would make a great politician, but I make a great person behind the scenes, getting things moving. And same with my kids. My kids are awesome. And I'm a great behind the scenes cheerleader for them. The same with my husband, So that's, like I said, the most interesting thing about me is really the people that I'm supporting.
I would say that's a relatively common thread amongst most of the people that I've had on. If you've listened to
really?
Not entirely, maybe not to the level that you are, but so even Don, who was here just before, right? So what's his favorite part about his job? He said collaborating and seeing the success of his clients. Those are things I like too. So I think most people that are that are good at what they do, I think that's ultimately their goal is and of course you like a little pat on the back once in a while, but ultimately you wanna see what you're doing have an impact
right
beyond the thing itself.
Right.
So, I make a website. I don't it looks great and I win an award. That doesn't matter to me as much as it transforms a business or transforms an organization.
Right.
That's way more important to me.
Yeah.
And then they're able to do more things.
Yeah. So your success makes many others successful.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's really the goal. And if I don't, then I'm not going to have a job.
Yeah. I would call that you're like a ripple maker. It's like just you're one pebble, but it's just it's
huge.
Just it transforms everything around it. Just
right.
Ripple maker.
Yeah. And side note, I saw you bump the microphone and you were a little freaked out for a second. So yesterday and again, this is going to be on October 14th, but yesterday was the launch of the iPhone 6S. And at the end, they had the band One Direction on. Not One Direction, One Republic. They're the same thing.
No, they are not.
I know
the
they're
same
not.
thing.
I know they're not. I know. And I actually like One Republic.
Right. One Republic's going to be after you now.
I know. Sorry, Zane.
You are
I know Zane is in the other one. I don't know. I couldn't name a One Direction song, but One Republic has some good tracks.
Yeah.
But they started playing, and I think the drummer dropped the drumstick and banged stuff and it was like a slow acoustic number, and they kind of did a half pause but kept going, but it was uncomfortable for all of us watching, and it's in the recording. You can go see it. It's recorded, and you can see the screw up. So.
That's why I love doing things live.
They could have edited it out in the thing, but then people would knock them for that. You can't win.
In the best episodes of Saturday Night Live are the ones where people break character.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So there's something about being a little bit raw. And whatever, I get a little nervous when I'm doing crazy things like plug in my computer in across the room too.
And I must say again, what a short cord you have.
The way she's saying that, I think she's implying something.
Are you one of the people that throws away the extra extension cable they put in the...
No, but I don't usually have it with me.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
they even give you a place to wrap it on the charger. There's a little hook thing to wrap it in.
No, you can't wrap the long one there.
Oh, sure you can.
Well,
he left his long one at home.
Okay, well, I'm not going to steal your show.
Plus, it's a 2-prong versus a 3-prong thing, and I can always use the 2.
Yeah, traveling lightly.
Traveling lightly.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever.
I know. I have a big fucking bag, and I should have it in there.
If I knew you needed power, there's extension cables in the supply closet.
You need a handler.
I actually thought I do. I knew. I like a personal assistant.
Yes.
And then I need a publicist. And
there you are.
And also, who's the person that tells you not to say things wrong? I need one of those.
PR manager, right?
I would say whoever it is that's not working for Trump.
But he needs
one of those.
I don't know. Like he could be doing worse.
Like that raw stuff is kind of entertaining though. So.
It is. So anyway, I went completely off track there. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but
no big love.
The microphone thing, I think a lot of people get uncomfortable with that, and you were really afraid to be on here. So
Ooh, I was very nervous. You know what? The thing that makes me the most nervous is if these kids in Ethiopia don't get the help they need, it's because I screwed up. It's because I did not do a good enough job of telling their story and letting people know what we need. And so I do feel like there's like a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
They don't really have a voice. And
to me, the struggle is that you don't want to show too much despair.
Right.
But you don't want to just show all the kids in nice dress shirts out of school,
right?
Going along being fine. Like finding that balance, I think, is going to be very difficult.
It is very difficult, and I guess that's one thing I would want. It's a difficult thing to articulate, but I would want people to know we're not just giving out money and we're not just giving out food, because that's not going to help. We had to kind of triage the situation. There are some kids that are so far gone. People are going to just be horrified to hear me say this, but they're so far gone. You can't bring it back. You just can't fix it. So we've kind of identified the kids that we know have a really, really good chance of bringing themselves up and bringing up others around them. And so we're kind of hoping for the multiplier effect. We don't want to just feed one meal and make them, give them food for a day. We're looking at the big picture, the long term. Who's going to do the most for the community that they're living in? Because it's, we can't just feed them one meal. We need the ripple effect.
And I couldn't agree with that more, actually. Mm-hmm. So, it is unfortunate, and you want to theoretically help everyone, but there's always limited resources. Yeah. So, I'm sure this will ruffle some of my more left-wing friends, and I have a great many of them. But I feel, in our own country too, I feel like if we're going to put money into education, we should be putting money into the cream of the crop, and we should be getting them pushed as far as possible. And I do feel that the raising tide raises all the boats. I do. Yeah. I don't feel like making a common denominator that's super low helps much of anything. We don't have a McDonald's economy anymore.
Right.
We in our country.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking so much for Ethiopia, although they're going to be in the modern economy within a decade.
Let's not bet against them. I was thinking that another, time. It's like you can't really paint a dire picture of Ethiopia, but when you tell the story of Ethiopia, it looks dire. But the reality is they've got like a million different irons in the fire, and they have been struggling for a long time, but this is their comeback. Right. This is really their comeback. They've got ties to the Queen of Sheba, and they're the cradle of mankind. This is where they've been here forever, so you never want to bet against them. I guess that's my thought, don't bet against them, because they're going to make a comeback. And that's kind of one of the phrases I use in like our videos and whatnot. It's like, let's invest in Ethiopia's comeback kids. It's these kids that are learning in our schools are going to be the leaders of Ethiopia.
Right.
It's just they're making a comeback.
So I listened to a Gina just texted and said that the shoutcast is kind of crackly.
Yeah, that's probably the bitrate thing.
Yeah, so
we'll have to look at that.
So, sorry.
So we have two listeners?
I think we got more than that, but
yeah, we got 4.
Yeah. Yeah, and it goes up and down. If it gets through correctly, some of them probably go away.
Probably. Yeah, that's likely.
Nick, can you do something about that?
So, and I forget the name of the country. I should know all my African countries a little better. But so I listened to a Mac podcast, and one of the individuals there, a huge part of his business is in Africa, and I forget the name of the country. It's not Ethiopia, but basically, because they don't have the same kind of legacy we have, they've been able to leapfrog in so many ways. So, for instance, like cellular, like we have copper in the ground and in the poles, and they can skip over that.
Yeah.
And they can all have cell phones. Boom.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have like all this money wasted on stupid crap that they don't use anymore.
Right.
So there's certain things that they can just leapfrog.
Yeah.
And so betting against them, no, and it's a matter of like, is the wealth going to be shared? But I think there's going to be pockets of immense wealth in Africa because they can take advantage of cheap labor, sometimes slave labor.
Well, do you know what China does with a lot of their prisoners?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they ship them to Ethiopia. Those are the chain gangs that are like redoing the roads.
Yeah. So it's it's a bunch of scary stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, tell me more about the bracelets.
More about the bracelets. If you make a bracelet purchase, you are really making a huge...
How much do they cost?
$15 each.
And people can't see them right now. We'll have it up on your website. But what do they look like? Describe them to me a little bit.
They are made with glass beads, and they've got metal, adornments, I would say. And they all have a charm. And... I'm anxious for you to go to the website and check them out. You're gonna love them. Or, for $15.
What makes them unique, though? I mean, are they just...
They are handmade.
Yeah.
They are handmade.
So are these little things, is there any symbolic significance, or are they just...
So this is like... I believe it's intended to be the tree of life, but this is a very common tree in Ethiopia. So this charm is the charm of a tree.
Okay, this one is too. Are they? So
these are all.
They're all trees. Okay, you have other adornments.
Yes, we have other adornments.
And can you put more than? Is it like those things like my grandma has?
Like a charm bracelet.
Yeah. Can you put more than one, or is it just going to have one?
No, but you can buy more than one bracelet and get more than one charm.
And those are only $15.
Right.
So in terms of jewelry, and they seem. Because they are handmade, they seem relatively durable.
They are very durable. I've got like a busy, chaotic life.
Yeah.
I mean, these are...
So there's like a stretchy thread in there. Does that break?
Yep. No, I'm not that I know of. And I've got a lot of guinea pigs out there wearing these bracelets around.
Because it seems like it's a little tight.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't break it if I put it on?
No, you can put it on. Okay. Yeah, you can put it on. Give it a whirl.
Okay.
You do it. What big wrists you have. There we go.
But I have a small cord.
Yes.
You'll have to release the Elliot size special edition.
I mean, these are some of us have we have mutant bodies with distorted characteristics. Jay Leno's got his chin. I have my big wrists.
Very
I had to whisper that. Did you see what I had to whisper?
I everyone heard it.
No.
Oh yeah, you're sassy.
No,
I didn't hear.
No, nobody heard it. I'm just giving her shit.
What's going on?
Okay, so what else do we want to cover? We're going to run out of time. You thought we wouldn't have enough to talk about.
I know. I was very. You
have there's like a book of stuff here, and we only went through one page.
You're like 2 minutes to the hour ish.
Yeah.
No, are you kidding?
No.
Oh, Elliot, can I come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
But cover some more stuff.
Okay. One of the things I want to tell people about is how fragile life is in Ethiopia. So I was saying, I want everything done now.
Yeah.
And it is important that everything gets done quickly, quickly, not done carelessly, but quickly. Things are very fragile, in Ethiopia. If there's a drought here in the United States, we're not able to irrigate our lawns or our golf courses, and we get our hotel sheets washed every other day rather than every day. That's what a drought in the U.S. is about. A drought in Ethiopia, people starve and die. it's fragile. Life, the consequences are, very serious. In the United States, even the poorest of the poor, they're surrounded by people with wealth. They're, you know what I mean? They might be several degrees
I have it pretty bad here. We had all that rain the other day, and one of my 2 sump pumps failed.
Yes, and that's a drag. I'm not minimizing what a drag that is.
Nothing happened. It was fine.
Oh, but that is a drag.
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
I live in a utopia. It's amazing here.
We all do.
Yeah.
We all do. But the people living in poverty here, which I am not minimizing that. Please, I hope no one takes it as that, because I'm not minimizing that. But the people in poverty here, even though there might be a degree or 2 or 3 or 4 of separation between them and someone that's wealthy, in Ethiopia, there is they will have never encountered anyone that is able to help them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And that is a very dire situation. And then, I guess the other things, the things are very fragile, and I look at the orphan crisis as probably the biggest indicator of the level of trouble there is. In the United States, if a child loses a parent or loses their family, there's someone to take that child on. Worst case scenario, we have social services, Mm-hmm. In Ethiopia, it's like for a long time, these orphans were absorbed by surviving relatives. But once the surviving relatives kind of died off, then they were absorbed by like friends, family friends, or other people in the community. But now they've died off. It's like there is no one to absorb these orphans. And that is not anything you would understand living here in the United States.
So another side benefit, though, I feel is anything that we learn from helping people over there, of course, is going to be brought back.
For sure.
We're going to utilize those techniques and resources and all of that.
For sure. And that was another.
So there's no downside.
No. And the other, thing, I worked really hard as when we were putting together this, 501c3, our nonprofit. I went to a lot of different places just to figure out how is the best, most effective way to deliver care.
So you are a 501c3 right now.
We are a 501c3.
So to people that don't know what that means that they...
we're federally recognized.
But if I make a donation, that's tax deductible.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
So that's important for people to know.
Yeah.
I think Nick just gave us the wrap up signal.
No, come on.
He's cutting us off.
You have a little time if you
cut
need
my
it.
mic. Do you have somebody waiting?
Yeah, but that's just that's life. I know you still have one more very important question to ask though before the end of the show.
I do.
Oh no.
So sort of two. So briefly.
Okay.
And actually, I think that we should issue some sort of a challenge. And I just thought about this as we're talking. Yeah. So this will be on October 14th, and I would like to see us. And I'm just throwing weird numbers out. I know we get around 1,000 listeners. Okay. So, and I know everybody isn't going to do it, but I think we should try to raise $1,000 for your organization.
I would love that.
And since you and I are both impatient, I think we should set a goal of the 15th.
I love that.
Okay. So we should put something out there to get the fundraising going. Okay.
Yeah.
And to our people that are listening through the Crackly live stream, if anybody has ideas as to how to help that happen, let's do that.
I am so grateful for you for
we'll see.
Coming up
we
with
might
this.
only raise $10.
You know what?
That might just be from
Thank you to whoever is giving the $10. And actually, that's the other thing I was thinking about. The way Africa is really being helped is not by the big federal grants that are being given. A lot of that money gets intercepted and doesn't make where it's supposed to go, or it goes to streets or improving an airport so dignitaries can get in and out of the country better. That's where.
So you have actual boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground, hands out there working. And I just think that is such a more effective way of delivering.
And you are one of the boots on the two of the boots on the ground. Right?
Yeah.
So
so what I think about these smaller nonprofits, don't discredit them, because we know exactly where every single penny is going, and we make sure that it is spent wisely and goes to the right person. We attach like a face, well, 2 faces to every dollar we get in. We know who it came from, and we know who it's going to, and we know what it's going to do. And, I really encourage people to not necessarily take on a big, huge charity. Take on a small one. And you know what I mean? I think care is delivered so much more efficiently with these small nonprofits that have, 0 to very little administrative.
Well, and you have
expenses.
huge opportunities for people to put in, a reasonable amount of money and have a huge impact.
Right.
You have huge opportunities for other volunteers.
Yes.
And even people who want to get involved in organizing the organization. You're looking for involved board members that can help you raise money and help you deploy some of these things effectively, right?
A couple of weeks ago, I was at a fundraiser Randall Cobb event, and I just, talked to him for briefly, and I said, hey, I know you do a lot of charity work, and a lot of the other Packer players do things like dig wells and whatnot. Could you introduce me to some of those people that have international charities? Maybe they could, help my kids. And he's like, well, talk to my agent, because I was thinking of doing some international work. So Randall Cobb, call me. Maybe we can...
Or you want his agent to call you.
Yeah,
she'll call you.
I hope she does.
She listens. She's a listener.
I hope so, because we got stuff to accomplish. And I think, and here's the other thing. I mean, I work very closely with EBS TV. We've got 2 documentaries out. EBS television has been a huge supporter.
And that's the video that'll be on the website, right?
Well, no, that was done by a dear friend, Joe Rogowski, here in town.
Okay.
But we've got 2 like full hour-long documentaries like filmed and done in Ethiopia by Ethiopia Broadcasting Television. If Randall Cobb or anybody wants to come, I mean, if we can get footage. We can.
So you thought you would have nothing to talk about, and so we gotta finish. We gotta be done.
Come on,
I want your shirt.
Yes.
Tell me about your shirt very quickly.
I have 6 of this exact same shirt.
And what is it? Describe it.
It's just a very thin fabric black shirt.
And why is it?
You have to have your skin covered. In some places you can show skin. Other places in Ethiopia, it's Muslim, a Muslim area. You want to have your skin covered out of respect. And, also it's like, I'm a really, really, really pasty alabaster master. You know what I mean? So keep the skin off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then, I'm cutting you off. You're going to have to come back.
Elliot,
you're going to have to come back.
Do you promise?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much.
That leads into the closing question. All right. So before we get into that, how can people get in touch with you? We already said the website. Repeat that again.
Yep.
What is that?
www.workas1.org.
Okay. Any other way you want to get in touch with you? Phone number, anything?
Melissa Tanke at gmail.com.
Okay.
And please email. Please check out the website. Please help.
Awesome.
You'll be glad you did. And Elliot, thank you so much for all that you've done for my website.
We have one more question.
Oh, no. Okay.
This is the closing question, because I don't want you coming back with the question. Like, that's a big mess.
Yeah,
okay.
That was awkward.
Wait,
that one time, like episode 4.
That one time when it happened, it was disaster. No.
Okay.
Trisha, you were fine. No. I don't want her to cry. She'll cry. She'll cry about that. I guarantee it. She'll cry. No. But she won't cry to me. She'll cry to Gina, and I'll hear it fifth hand. It'll be a disaster. So who would you like to bring back and co-host with me? If you could have someone come back.
I would like to have Randall Cobb.
How did I know that was going to
happen? Come on.
Well, apparently, if his agent is listening, I mean, there's a chance on that one.
Claire Stone, agent, please look me up.
So your mission, just like I gave to Dawn, is to help make that happen.
Yes.
So give her a call and see if you can get that to happen. That would be great. I love Randall Cobb. He's amazing.
I love him too. And he's just like such a
And he's not just an amazing football player. I watch his show, and he's a good dude.
He is a good person, and it's like, you forget he's a football player after having a conversation with him.
Absolutely.
I adore him.
He's smart, wicked smart.
Yep.
So.
And actually, and I believe.
She won't stop.
They're making me stop. All right. call me Randall.
See, it's a teaser for next time. So we do have our closing track, and that was actually from a video that you produced. So describe that, and then we'll close out.
This is a video of the students in our school singing a farewell song to my son and I as we left the last time we were there. So it's a farewell song, and it's like a song of like gratitude and thankfulness.
And it's real from Ethiopia.
It's real. These are, it'll be on my website. You can see them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you. Thanks
you
a
did
lot.
awesome.
This was a blast.
I